Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Project Ozone. You can see that we have a little bit of an assembly line going. This is all sawdust. It's being pumped through. Basically, let me turn this down for just a second. I just finished setting this up. This place is super noisy right now. But we have a resonant sawmill that's just ripping through wood about as fast as it sends it to it. And it's stocking this up with oak wood planks. Now, eventually, oh, you know what? I'm in the habit of just throwing void upgrades into everything. Tell you what, I'm just going to throw 3 storage upgrades in that for now. So eventually this will stop and we can see where it's at. But that's still 1,248 stacks. That's really all we really need. But I will probably throw 2 more storage upgrades in there just so that we've got it. But this way we have oak wood planks already crafted. They're ready to go. Instead of having that extra step or running out of wood or anything like that, this is just going to be ready to go anytime. Over here I started working on some additional cobblestone frameworks, and the reason being, and this is all set up pretty much the same way we have over there, and then they're pumping back into this through the bottom. And that way we have a bit more octuple production going. We're back up to 6, and I did use quite a few octuple compressed between last episode and this one. Over here you'll notice that these 2 drawer systems are not connected. This one on this wall is a separate system than this one on this wall. But we do have some additional ones. We have like aluminum, we have terrasteel, certus quartz, skeleton, diamond, vibrant alloy, cobalt, spider, slime. We've got ghast, wither, which is of course is wither skeletons. We've got copper, creeper, ardite, and emerald. So I did get those done, and we have an additional little greenhouse area over there that is finished. Also, I sped up our breeding system by just throwing an infinite water up here with some sprinklers, and I threw some lily pads of fertility around as well. So crop breeding is a bit faster now. That's why I was able to get all those done between last episode and this one. In addition, I did do a bit of cleanup work around here. I've started working on this. I'm going to start building out the base, like the foundation of the build, so to speak. It's not going to be, I know I had a comment about, building a basement under this so the stuff isn't floating in the void. It's not going to be, once it's all done, there is going to be a foundation that kind of runs around the base. I was just kind of waiting to see how big everything was going to be and whatnot. But I will start working on that fairly soon. I was going to start working on it before I started this recording, but I didn't quite get around to it because I had a bunch of stuff I was working on. But anyways, I will start working on that fairly soon, but I did do a bit of cleanup work around here. Over here, there's a door, and this connects into our power room. Let me turn our volume back up here. Alright, this door leads into here. I did do a lot of cleanup work around here. Mr. Bugglesworth loves the engine, so I'm going to let him just kind of work on the generators here. You'll also notice that it is a bit quieter. I did throw a sound muffler under this because it was extremely loud, especially when like a second one would kick on, the fires were burning, Mr. Bugglesworth was making his noise. So I did quiet this down just a little bit. I can actually hear it. It's very, very low. But it is still audible. Normally, I like having the machines making noise, but I know in a recording setting, it's kind of annoying for you guys when I go through this area and all the machines are making all that racket and stuff. I did clean up back here, and since we have a conduit that runs up, I just threw a block of steel that looks like, these are kind of like linked together, like chained together. And yeah, I did do a bit of cleanup work around here. This room is for the most part done. There's still a few other minor things. Oh, I missed I'll have to make one of those facades. Also, the XP berry system is kind of refined and cleaned up a bit. I may even refine it even more and put these under the floor so we can't see the ender tank and the ender chest. But right now, I don't know. I don't mind them. They kind of break up the monotony of the Tyrian. And that's one of the only other things I really want to do in this room is kind of just break up some of these blocky sets of Tyrian. We will probably put something on this back wall. Maybe maybe a little power system or something like that, just to kind of bring the room together and fill it out. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with these carpenter doors here for sure, but Anyways, if we pop through here, first up in this room I did a bit of work because our ore processing system was not keeping up. Now, I'm not going to go too crazy with this because eventually we are going to change it all over to mechanism, I think, just for the sake of doing it, for the sake of having ore quadrupling or quintupling, you know, in our build somewhere. But anyways, you can see that we're pumping in right now copper, iron, gold as well. It looks like we don't have any in here right now, as well as ardite. So, and then I've basically just got 4 sag mills that are running, breaking the stuff down, and then it goes into 4 alloy smelters. All these have octatics, and then of course it just gets pumped into our system. Now up here we're starting to run out of storage space, so I may have to do an additional like storage area above this, which is fine. I kind of planned for that. I'm to the point now where I'm just like throwing things where there's space, so which is fine. I mean, this room, once this is filled out, you really won't come in here, honestly, because all of this is accessible through the you know, through the logistics network. Also, we have a ton of Terra Steel now. 1,200 Terra Steel, and quickly rising. Look at all the sawdust flying through here. Anyways, I still need to get around to cleaning up this room. I've just been busy doing other things. If we pop down here into the PneumaticCraft room, the whole big ugly, I haven't cleaned up the floor because I don't know exactly what all is going to go over here. I know the assembly platform is going to go here today, and so I'll kind of build the floor around that. As well as this little corner here. All this is cleaned up. Basically, I still have the ender chest feeding cactus grain, lapis, and rose red. I did remove the coal from that. But all 3 of those are feeding in. And then if we pop down here, basically we have a drum right here that's being fed from a logistics fluid supplier to keep liquid plastic in here. I did just fill up the drum before I set it here, but it's actually set to keep, I think, 20 buckets in here. It's just I filled the drum up, so I had it, and then I set it, and of course we don't really need any liquid plastic right now. And honestly, we probably never will at this point, but, you know, it's filled right now. Also, over here, I added a bunch more fluids. Another section of cows is plugged up, as well as our liquid plastic is now stored here. And, yeah, most of the stuff is pretty standard. If we pop downstairs into the fluid room proper, I did quite a bit of work here. This is the logistics system, or the PneumaticCraft system, the plastic system. It's basically just set up right here, and I've still got a little bit of cleanup work to do here, but for the most part it's cleaned up. I just put dark iron bars around it, and then I got to do facades and stuff. And then over here, this is our XP system that's connected up with the XP berries, and it's fed from an ender chest below it, and basically it just goes in the vacuum hopper. The obsidian, the reason I have this trash can here is because this produces obsidian. Basically this vacuum hopper just picks it up and trashes it. As we have tons of obsidian, I'm not too concerned about trashing what's produced from this pneumatic system. And then, of course, the XP just goes in here. I went ahead and I was going to actually just plug it up with conduits, but then I figured we still got that ender tank because it's connected to all of our XP, like our mob farms and things like that. So I was like, well, I'll just keep the ender tank and, you know, connect it up with that. So, also, we are out of potatoes, so that's a concern. I mean, realistically, it's not a major concern because we still are very, very positive on biodiesel. You can see we have 22 million millibuckets of biodiesel right now, but for the most part, we have 880 ethanol right now. There we go, it's gone. I knew it wouldn't last very long. Plant oil we're fine on, but the ethanol, we're probably going to do a focused potato farm in the very near future that basically just produces potatoes so that we don't have that deficit. Because right now I have like no potatoes in the system, so if I was to need them, it would be a little bit more of a hassle. So, also down here, I haven't showed you guys this in a few episodes. This section, this back section here is now done. So I'll start the front section next. We still need a ton of bedrock. We really, really do. So that's why I added these. Honestly, I've got 2 more to add here, and then I may add another, 16 on the back here, maybe. We'll see. We are producing an absolute just ridiculous amount of cobblestone. Octuple compressed is actually producing a bit faster now. If you take a look here, I mean, it's it's producing about 41 double compressed per second at the moment. So it is very, very fast, but it still could be faster because we are going through bedrock fairly quickly. And then also I did add a few more solar arrays, solar panels. So this is kind of filling out. It's still only tier 6s. We'll get around to upgrading those. Honestly, power is not really a concern, so I'm just kind of doing it passively at the moment. So we've got more power than we could really use, thanks to all those diesel gens. So anyways, today we are going to pick back up. We're going to work on PneumaticCraft, really bring PneumaticCraft around and, for the most part, finish it as far as the progression aspect. Now, we will still use PneumaticCraft moving forward. I do want to do maybe a few things with drones. I want to do some little miscellaneous things with PneumaticCraft, and I do want to upgrade this system today to liquid power instead of air. I don't really like, or instead of solid, I want to go liquid. I prefer liquid on over any kind of solid pretty much any time. So we're going to change over to probably lava. And I want to work on the assembly platform, the Amazon tablet, all that fun stuff, and work on printed circuit boards, things of that nature. And if we have time today, I would like to start working on mechanism, but I feel like the most important thing at the moment is getting through PneumaticCraft, really finishing that out, and then we can turn to mechanism and really focus on it. So we'll see where we get to today, and if we have time, we'll jump into a little bit of that. So anyways, the first thing that we're going to go for is this UV light box. We're going to need a PCB blueprint, however, which does require the Amazon tablet. You'll notice that's the only way to craft that. So what we're going to need to do is we are going to need to get ourselves one of these Amazon tablets. This requires an air canister, not expensive, and then GPS tool, also not expensive. I think we could probably just craft all this from the table. I don't think I need it for, no, I don't need it for the quest. Also, we do have an etching acid cow, so we get to skip that whole segment and go just grab a bucket of etching acid and have at it. Anyway, there's our GPS tool. I'm not going to cover that right now. If we get into drones in the future, we will get into the GPS tool and all that good stuff. But for right now, it's not something that's really a concern for us. Okay, we're just waiting on, there's the gray plastic, and there is our Amazon tablet. Now, for some reason, the air canister got charged, and I don't really know why that is. I crafted it, and it was sitting here, and then it got filled. And I don't know why that is. So our Amazon tablet is starting out filled, apparently. Which, honestly, technically we could skip the next part, thanks to that, but I'm not going to, just because might as well cover it, right? So the next thing that we're going to need is the charging station from PneumaticCraft. Fairly easy to craft. Let's go ahead, order the pieces for this. There we go. There's our charging station. And then let me just go ahead and get some pressure tubes, I guess. Okay, I'll tell you what. We're going to have to bring... Do I want to go through here? Actually, I'll go right through here, because this part is actually going to be brought out when I build the actual walls for this, so this will be perfect. We'll just bring our pressure tubes over like so, and then I guess we'll bring them down. I'm hoping by next episode we'll have this room all finished, because like that energy room, for the most part, other than just going in there and adding maybe some little things here and there, just to kind of break up the monotony of the Tyrian, other than that room's done. We never even have to walk in there if we don't want to. And that's kind of how I want to get this room done. I want to get, by next episode, have this pretty much finished, so that unless we specifically want to come in this room for something, like to craft something or whatever, otherwise we will never have to really come into here. So, our charging station, I think we're going to set it up. So, we'll have our charging station here so we can walk in, you know, if we want to manually craft something, we can with this. Now, I will say this one actually uses air pressure, but I don't mind it. I like, if I'm manually crafting something, I like seeing these open and close. But if it's automatic, I really don't care. So, I think we'll have that just like that. And then we'll go ahead and just plug this up with some air pressure. Basically, I just need to plug up this last tube. Keep in mind, you don't want to plug these up from the field part. I wouldn't suggest it anyway because you're going to lose air pressure. So we'll just do that, and we didn't lose any air pressure doing that. So anyway, this charging station is filling up. If we wanted to charge the Amazon tablet, if it didn't come like fully charged for whatever reason, we could just throw it into here and it would charge this. Now you'll notice right now it's actually draining a little bit from that because it's trying to equalize the pressure across the system. So we really don't need to charge this at the moment. And now that we've got that, what we're going to need to do is just set up a place that drones can access. And it has to be outside or at least have easy access to the inside. Because the drones are going to come in from basically the horizon line. And they're going to bring you the stuff and they're going to drop it off. And then, you know, take their payment, so to speak. So what we're going to do, let's get ourselves just a chest, any kind of work. I'm just going to take a diamond chest. And then we're also going to want some emeralds. Let's go ahead and get like 2 stacks. I don't think we're going to need that many, but there is a few things that I want to order with this. So I think, at least for now, this is subject to change, but this outside patio area, or like balcony type area, we're just going to set up our chest right here for now. And we'll go ahead and shift right click, say set the item providing location to 543, 336 in dimension overworld. So basically this chest is where the drones are going to access to pick up their payment as well as drop off items, right? So now let's go ahead. Now if you're paying like right here, you can sell like diesel for emeralds, you can sell oil for emeralds, and so on. That you'll have to use a liquid container, of course, but that's fine. This is item providing. There's also a fluid providing. So, but just shift right click that. But we're going to go ahead and order ourselves a few things here. Most of the stuff I don't really care for. Diamond shovels, cookies. Yeah, none of this stuff I really care to get. The only thing I'm really concerned about is getting these assembly programs and this PCB blueprint. So we're going to go ahead and throw in, like, say, a stack of emeralds into this. And then we're going to say, because you can see if I had the emeralds on my person, right, all these recipes are red because there's no emeralds in the providing location, item providing location. So we're going to go ahead and throw those emeralds in there. And you can see that anything that costs emeralds, it has opened up these. These are now viable options that we can purchase. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and order ourselves an assembly program laser. We're just going to right click it and you'll see it says 1. We're going to order the drilling laser. We're going to order the drill. And we're going to order the PCB blueprint. Okay, so we've got one of each of these that we're ordering, and we're going to go ahead and say order. And you'll notice the ones go away. And here shortly, it might take a second, but generally it's fairly quick. We should see, there we go. Here comes a drone. He's going to interact with that chest. And you'll notice that he took the emeralds. And here comes another drone. And this is the delivery drone. You'll notice that, say it says delivery drone, Amazon delivery drone. You'll see that he just delivered all of our programs and our PCB blueprint. So we'll go ahead and grab those. Wonderful. Yeah, I didn't need nearly that many emeralds. Like half stack, a little bit over. Would have done fine. Okay, so honestly, the Amazon tablet, I'm done with it for right now. Getting these things, getting one of each of these things is, I'd say, the most important. I don't think, yeah, the PCB blueprint is only for the UV light box. So there's really no sense in needing more of those. So now, and this stuff right here, this assembly programs, we're not going to use those for a while. So we'll just stick those away. I just wanted to go ahead and order those while we were, doing that. So now what I'm going to need is I want to get our UV light box, right? So for this, we're going to need 4 pressure tubes, 2 compressed iron. Let's go ahead. I'm not going to need that. I don't really need the pressure tubes. I've got a few of those on me. The compressed iron gears, let's go ahead and just order, say, 2 of these. And we're going to craft this in a crafting table manually because, we need it for the quest. So there is our UV light box. Wonderful. And let's see, next up they want us to make an empty PCB. This is crafted right here, compressed iron with green plastic. Okay, so we're just going to make a quick recipe for that. Let's get ourselves some compressed iron and then just a piece of green plastic. And we'll go ahead and grab a crafting module as well. And we'll just pop on over and teach it how to make one of those empty PCBs for us. So we'll put it into this one, because keep in mind, or I'm sorry, this one in the middle. This one is the one that does our compressed iron, so I don't want to do anything that has to do with compressed iron. So we're going to throw in crafting module, and we're going to say that if you send it green plastic and compressed iron, or no, I'm sorry, not here. What satellite is this? This is number 10. Okay. So if you send green plastic and compressed iron to satellite number 10, and I don't think any of these other ones, no, they don't have anything to do with green plastic. Okay, if you send it those things, then you are going to get something wonderful. And we're going to go ahead and set the filter here to empty. It begins with empty. And we'll go ahead and throw these things into here and let this craft us up a empty PCB. And it should pop into here. There we go. Empty PCB. Wonderful. And so let's go ahead and just put this into our recipe real quick. We'll say that makes an empty PCB. And then I want to set up the filter here and tell it that it can collect empty PCBs. And now that's set. So now we can teach it, now it can make empty PCBs. Wonderful. And so the next step towards actually making our first PCB, we're going to have to make a few of these, honestly, because if you take a look here at the assembly stuff, you're going to have printed circuit boards. And these are crafted with transistors and capacitors with an unassembled PCB. And the unassembled PCB, once we get the assembly platform, we're going to need a laser, 2 IOs, and the basic platform in order to do it. But then we can actually make the unassembled PCBs automatically. But until then, we have to do the etching acid method, which is terrible. So for right now, we're going to set up our UV light box. So we'll just plug that up like that. And so that's going to start getting air pressure. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to take this empty PCB and throw it in this light box. Now this is going to take a fairly long time. You can see the etch success chance is slowly going up. It's at 1%. It's about, yeah, there we go, 2%. It's terrible waiting for this. Honestly, I tell you what I'm going to do. Let me order our Amadron tablet. I'm going to go ahead and just make a few more of those. We will use this on occasion because I'm going to make... Eventually we're going to have multiple assembly platforms, and I think I have space in there for it. And let me go ahead and just get some emeralds as well. We'll get like a stack. Honestly, I'm probably just going to leave like a stack in here so that we have it. And let's go ahead and order ourselves like 3 PCB blueprints. And I'm just going to get 3 more UV light boxes. And we're only going to use it like for a moment today, and then we're going to tear them down and get rid of them because we're not going to want these forever. I'll be so ready to get rid of these UV light boxes. Just, I mean, we're not even going to use them like for like anything else after a certain point. We're just going to set these up like right here, and then let me go ahead and order some more empty PCBs. We're going to want like 3 of them for now. And here comes the stuff. I love this stuff. It's Auto Crafter. And we should be getting them into our pouch pretty quickly. Now you can actually do this without going all the way to 100%. I'm not going to because there's, you know, basically the percent is the percent of success. And if you go, say you try to cheese it basically and go with like say 80% and you get that 20%, well then you have to smelt it and break it down and restart over with the PCB. So for example, these failed PCBs right here, this is what you get if it doesn't work in the etching acid. Okay, and then you can just smelt it and get back your empty PCB. But then you have to start back from 0%. So I'm not personally a fan of doing that. I'd rather just get it up to 100% and, you know, do something else in the process. Now for the etching acid, we do have some right here. We're just going to grab a bucket of this and we'll just bring it over here. We'll set it down right there. And once this stuff reaches 100%, then we can take our PCB and throw in the etching acid. And after a bit, it will take a little while, we can actually get, 5 minutes, okay? But then that'll create an assembled PCB, and then we can make our printed circuit board and take a step further. Oh, you know what? We're actually going to need the assembly controller, too. I forgot about that. Blah. Okay, so we're actually going to need 3 additional PCBs. Alright, so these have just finished. You can see that the etch success chance is 100% now. That's what we want to see. So let's go ahead and replace these with these other PCBs that still have to get the UV light chance up. And now what we can do is we can take these empty PCBs and throw them into this etching acid. They shouldn't despawn. It shouldn't be an issue. So we'll give them just a bit. Now you'll notice they kind of bounce. That's whenever they update. So if I was to go and grab these, you can see that etching progress is 8% on these, and 6%, so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw them back in. It's going to take them a few minutes to complete. So anyways, we'll give them just a bit to finish, and while that's working, let's go ahead and look at getting into some liquid compressors. Okay, now these aren't terribly expensive to craft. They do require a little bit of kerosene, pressure tube, air compressor, and conductive iron. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop on over. Let's see. I don't know if I don't think I want to automate these. I could fairly easily, but I don't really see a point in it. Let's see. Right now we have 6 compressors. I think I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 8. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and just pull out this coal. And I'm going to go ahead and grab these. And we're going to update all this to liquid power. Alright, I am going to have to make a couple more compressors, but it's not too much of an issue. One more of those. There we go. We have 2 air compressors. And then there's 8. Alright, so let's go ahead and upgrade these now to liquid compressors. We're going to need buckets of kerosene, pressure tubes. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this coal back in here. We don't really need it anymore. And that's one reason I never bothered automating that coal. I just did it all manual because it was very, very temporary. Alright, so we'll get our liquid compressors. We are going to have to get a few more buckets of this. That's fine. I've got a kerosene cow, so it's not too much of an issue. There's 4, and then... Okay, I've got just enough buckets in here. And we'll go ahead and change these over. There we go. Okay, so we have our 8 liquid compressors. Wonderful. And we'll just set these up pretty much in the same spot. You know, we're going to have them just down through here. And then I want to go ahead and connect these up so they get the redstone signal as well. And then what I want to do is let me order a drum. I just want one of these like standard drums. And then I'm also going to want a fluid supplier. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the drum set up like right here. And we're going to have a fluid supplier feeding into this. And then I'm going to have to plug it up to those logistics pipes. So I'm just going to order some unrouted pipes. We'll get like 10 of those. And what we'll do is we'll just bring this up from the satellite pipe and plug it into there. Okay. And now I just need some lava. Let me get right here. And we'll just tell this, keep lava in here. I want to keep... say 20 buckets, partial yes, and there we go. So here in a second we should see some lava come into this. There we go, and there comes more. Okay, so we got our 20 buckets, and then we have 21 because I threw a bucket back in there. And then what I want to do is let's just order some fluid conduits. And honestly, standard fluid conduits will work. It's not really an issue. And we're just going to plug up all of these liquid compressors on this side with fluid conduits. And then we'll just bring it over to here. We'll say extract is always active. And it's going to start filling up these compressors. And these compressors are going to start running because they don't have a redstone signal. I do need to set this up. We're going to say work on low signal on all of these. Probably should have done this first, but I don't think they're going to beat me. All of these should be plugged up. Now, it is going to take it a little bit, you know, to for all of these to fill up, but once they're filled up, they should be set. We should be sending more lava over to this than what these are going to be consuming. So, because honestly, I mean, our compression chambers, which is a lot of where your air pressure goes, they're all automatic and they don't use air pressure. So, or you know, they still have to have an air pressure nozzle, but they don't actually consume any air pressure. So these are all running. You can see our air pressure steadily going up, and this is kicking on and off, and it's basically toggling these on and off, which is fine with liquid, whereas with a solid, if it was burning coal, it would have to continue burning that coal until it was done, right? Well, with this, it doesn't actually have to do that, because that's one nice thing about lava. I mean, with liquid over solid is liquid can be toggled on and off, and it doesn't waste any, and it also doesn't have to continue burning any. So basically, it's just saying, like, every couple seconds, it's saying, okay, burn a little bit, okay, burn a little bit, and just keeping that air pressure up. Now, I am going to bump up the threshold for this. Right now, it's at setting at 8, right? Yeah. We're going to bump it up to 4.5. So now it's going to let the pressure in the system rise to 4.5, which is fine with a system like this because you don't really have to concern yourself too much with it getting too much pressure due to overburning. Because with coal, we had to set it at 4 because with all these compressors burning, you know, there was a chance that it would shut off, but it would shut off right at about 4.5, right as all of them received a new piece of coal, causing them to burn and possibly explode. Well, with liquid, you don't have to worry about it so much. So 4.5 will be good. And our PCBs should be done by now. So let's go ahead and grab those. We now have 4 unassembled PCBs. Wonderful. And these are probably done now as well. They are. So let's go ahead, grab those out, and we're going to throw the empty PCBs once again into the etching acid. Okay. So now that we have these, I want to set up a recipe to create the printed circuit boards, which is done with 3 capacitors and 3 transistors, which our system already knows how to make those. So I'm going to go ahead, let's get just 3 of these, and let me actually get a crafting module as well. I almost forgot about that. And what I want to do is I just want to set up a recipe here. We're going to say that if you take 1 unassembled PCB, 3 transistors, 3 capacitors, okay, then you are going to make, and this is shapeless, so you can do this pretty much however. So I could set it like that, and like that. That makes a printed circuit board, right? So we'll go ahead and encode that, or apply it, and we'll throw in these. And there is our printed circuit board, and then we'll just put it into this recipe here. That's how you get a printed circuit board. Quest complete, circuit breaker. Wonderful. And I'm going to go ahead and throw these unassembled PCBs in here, and then I'm going to order 3 printed circuit boards. So we'll go ahead and take this reward bag here, and that finishes out the PneumaticCraft tier. Now we're not actually done with PneumaticCraft, however. You know, just like with logistics pipes, we weren't done whenever we finished that quest. It says it unlocks a quest elsewhere, but I don't know where that quest is, so it's probably tied to something else or something, I don't know. Anyways, we'll go ahead and throw that bucket back in there. And our reward bag, what did we get? A mana lens for velocity and a mana lens for efficiency. Wonderful. Alright, Let's go ahead and throw this all in the system. Okay, you can see they've changed over now, so we'll go ahead and grab those. And I'm going to go ahead and throw them in the system, and we're going to pop over here though, and we're going to order 3 more printed circuit boards. There we go. And I will go ahead and tell you that now the hard part and the grindy part of PneumaticCraft is done. It's totally done. The rest of it is really downhill from here. So to make printed circuit boards, let's see what all. To make the unassembled PCB, we need a laser, 2 IOs, and a platform. Okay, so let's get our assembly platform, orange plastic, pneumatic cylinders. I am going to teach my system how to make those because we're going to need those quite a bit moving forward. So it's blue plastic, cannon barrels, and compressed iron cannon barrels. It's like that. Safety tube is like that. Pressure gauge. Okay. Let me go ahead and order these. I'm going to teach you how to make all that stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead and order like 2 of these. And that's now got everything crafting up for us. We did get our first assembly IO unit. And we should be about to get our second one. There we go. So there's 2 assembly IO units. And then we're going to need the assembly platform. So we'll go ahead and order the stuff for this. And then we're going to want the... Wasn't it the laser, I think? Yes, it was the laser. Okay. So let's go ahead and order a laser, which is crafted just like that. And then we're also going to want the assembly controller. This is probably the most expensive because it does require 3 printed circuit boards, but we'll go ahead and order that. So there's our assembly platform. Next up, we should have everything we need for our laser here shortly. There's the laser. And then the controller. We'll go ahead and grab that. Okay, so we have our first assembly platform set. And so what we're going to do, let's get ourselves like a chest. Let's get... For right now, I'm just going to grab 2 diamond chests. And then I'm also going to want a couple... We'll go ahead and get a couple chassis Mark 5s. I'm also going to want a satellite pipe. We'll go ahead and get like 2 of those. Actually, I'm going to need 3 of these. Long term, but not right now. And I'll go ahead and request another one of those and another chassis pipe. Okay, and I got a bunch of just assorted logistic stuff that we'll probably end up needing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up over here. And those assembly programs that I ordered earlier, that's what these are for. Eventually I'm going to want 3 platforms. I don't know... Let's see, like the laser one only makes 4 different things, it looks like. The drill makes 2 different things. And the drill plus laser makes 1 thing. Okay. So really, I could have all these feeding into the same thing. Let me think. Okay, I'll tell you what. First up, we're going to just remove these UV light boxes. First and foremost. And we'll just throw them in the system. We don't ever need them again. So, goodbye. Let me go ahead and order just some cobblestone. And this cobblestone, of course, is just temporary. I'll end up cleaning, all of this up in the very near future. We're also never going to need an etching acid again. So we'll go ahead and just cover that up. That's fine. Okay, so we've got a bit of space here. I don't know, is this going to be enough? I have an idea that I think is going to work out very, very well. We're going to have our first assembly platform right here, okay? And then we're going to have our assembly controller. Let's see, these are going to have air pressure ran to them is the only thing. I'm honestly not 100% sure if it can take air from the bottom. It can. Okay. So we're going to run the air from the bottom. We're going to have our assembly controller here for this first one. And then we're going to have a diamond chest that's going to set right here. And then we're also going to have one, let's see, Sorry, I'm like kind of thinking through this as I do it. Alright, we're going to have a diamond chest that sits right there, and that one's going to actually have our recipes in it. So we're going to plug up our logistics Mark V to this, okay? And then we're just going to run some unrouted transport pipes down, and I guess we're going to plug them into this. That'll work out well. Okay. And then we're going to have our laser setting right here. And then we're going to have our first I.O. Right here. And we're going to have to change this one over, actually. If I recall correctly, we have to use the... No, we can use regular wrench for that. Okay, so this I.O. is going to be orange. If I recall, that's output. I could be mistaken. But I believe orange is output and blue is input. And then we're going to have another I.O. unit right here. Okay, so this one's going to be input. And then what we're going to do is just remove that. We're going to set a diamond chest right here. And then if we pop down here, we are going to have a satellite pipe that plugs in to that. And then I'm just going to remove this actually and just put an unrouted pipe right there. Okay. Alright, so that should all be plugged up. I just have to plug up the air pressure on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this line down. And now I just have to get back up there. I think this is going to look good once it's done and once I clean up this room a little bit, of course. And I'll just throw cobblestone there temporarily. Okay, so you can see that this now has pressure in it. Now we have to apply a program. Now this first one that we're going to be using is going to be solely for the... Oh, I just thought, I don't know if this will work how I want it to. I don't know, I'll have to play around with it. We'll see. So we're going to say assembly program laser, and we're going to put that into the program slot. And now we should be able to send stuff into this and have it crafted, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to order... If worst comes to worst, I can remove this plastic setup or move it over or something like that. This is going to be something I'm going to have to kind of work with a little bit. So let's order ourselves, say, one empty PCB, right? And there we go. We got our empty PCB. Now what I want to do is I just want to set up a quick recipe. Let me actually remove, say, this block right. Well, this block here. There we go. We are going to set up... First up, this satellite pipe that's down here, let's set it to number 12. And we're going to throw in a crafting module here. We're going to say that you're going to send this to satellite number 12. And if you send it an empty PCB, and then we're going to throw our empty PCB into here, you'll see that this assembly arm starts moving. And we are going to put speed upgrades into this. I wish it would go around the other direction so it doesn't clip into the wall there. I don't know. I may end up having to change this whole setup a little bit because I don't want it to clip into the wall, honestly, if at all possible. But this is really, really cool to watch it run once we put speed upgrades, which we will, hopefully by the end of the episode, set that up with speed upgrades as well. Alright, and here comes this arm. And this is the laser that's coming in. And... eventually, it's going to start. It's so slow with that speed. Okay, there we go. It's now cutting that PCB down, and you'll see that it's already made a PCB. Basically, it just did what we had to do with the UV light box and the etching acid. It did it in, a few seconds, right? And once we put speed upgrades into this, it's going to be a lot crazier. So let's go ahead... Now that I think about it, yeah, I don't think my system's going to work that I wanted to do. And there we go. We now have an unassembled PCB. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it into this, and I'm going to say that you're going to get an unassembled PCB when you do that. Okay? And let me go ahead and we're going to switch gears for just a second and look at speed upgrades. Okay? And I know this episode's probably going to run a little bit long, but I'd like to kind of wrap up a lot of PneumaticCraft today. To make speed, we're going to need lubricant buckets, lapis, and sugar. Well, it just so happens we have a ton of lubricant. So let me go ahead. Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to order a fluid crafter or liquid crafter from Mine Factory Reloaded. And let's go ahead. There we go. There's that. And I think what I want to do is we're going to set this up, I think, right over here in the liquid area, right? We'll have like a little liquid crafting type area over here. And I think we're going to put it like right in here, maybe. So we'll put the liquid crafter right there, and we're going to say, here's your gel pack. Let me grab a bucket of that lubricant. There isn't a fluid supplier upgrade, is there? I don't think so. Okay, oops. I don't know why I'm grabbing that. Let me get a fluid supplier, and we're going to set this up like right here, I think. So there's our fluid supplier, and then we're going to say keep... Oh, we're not going to be able to keep multiples. Okay, I may end up just doing one of these for... I don't know. I'm not sure how I want to do this. But we're going to say keep 8 buckets of lubricant in this. Alright, and we'll say partial, yes. And we'll go ahead and dump that bucket in there. Okay, so here in just a second it should... Oh, wait, it's not plugged up yet. Duh. Okay, let's go ahead... Unrouted pipes. And basically I just want to bring this around. Okay, so here in a second we should see a bunch of lubricant come into here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to plug up a chassis pipe. There we go, there's our lubricant. We'll put our chassis pipe right here. So we'll do something like that, and then there's an unrouted. Okay, so now what I want to do is we're going to set up a quick crafting recipe. And by the way, I'm sorry about the... You'll hear like a little bit of like huffing. I think my dog is, he's having a dream right now. So just a heads up. Anyways, let's go ahead and throw some of this stuff in here to get rid of it. And what I want to do is I want to order, let's see. For the speed upgrade, it was what, lapis and sugar, I think. So we'll order some lapis. And some sugar, which we've got plenty of that. I haven't actually taught my system how to make sugar, but from all the witches that we're killing, it's not really necessary, honestly. Alright, so we're going to say if you pump in 4 pieces of sugar, 4 pieces of lapis, and it goes into here. Now, lubricant is already a thing. Okay, we're going to say that if you take, it's lapis on the corners, so you do it just like that. Sugar goes here, and then a bucket of lubricant. That's going to make you speed upgrade. Yeah, we'll just order a clock, and we'll see how this goes. And we'll just put the clock like right here. And you can see that it's crafting those speed upgrades for us now. Wonderful. Now it is having to wait on a little bit of lubricant right now. I'll go ahead and throw that in there to help it out. But I could set this up and have it supply a little bit more. Let's see, what's the maximum that it can hold? 10 buckets. Of course, it's really not a major weight. I mean, it's right next to the system, so don't have to worry about it that much, I guess. But anyway, so it's crafting. It can craft speed upgrades for us. Wonderful. And so let me go ahead and grab those. We have 11 right now, which will be fine for what I need. I don't know for sure. Let's start with, like, say 6 of them in this. And so now if we were to order PCBs, I want unassembled PCBs, right? Or no, let's actually go ahead and order printed circuit boards. We should have everything that we need to just order, say, 10 of these. Request successful. So here in a second, the stuff should come into the I/O. You can hear it, like, teleporting. You can see that it runs a lot faster. It drops it down. Here comes the laser. Bzzz. And you'll notice it is draining pressure a little bit quicker. That's the only concern with running this many speed upgrades. Yeah, I'll go ahead and kick that back to 5. 5 keeps it pretty steady, and 5's still a good speed. Now we will upgrade that in just a moment, but it is crafting those quite a bit faster. So I'm happy about that. And you can see we're building up printed circuit boards rather quickly right now. Alright, so the next thing, I think the last thing that I want to do this episode, and I might change this up, we're going to see. And I want to go ahead and just make a quick recipe here because I don't have compressed iron being stored in a compacting drawer, which is fine. It's not really something that we're going to be using all the time anyway. But we're going to say that if you take 9 compressed iron and you pump it into here. Oh, you know what? No, we're not going to do it here. We're going to do it on this one. Okay, so 9 compressed iron comes into here. And we're going to make a quick recipe here and just say that makes a block of compressed iron. Very, very simple. And there's that. Okay, so now we can make blocks of compressed iron. And then what I want to do is let's get all those printed circuit boards that I was crafting. We'll go ahead and dump them into the system. That's fine. Pressure tubes in the system. That lever. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and dump this Amadron tablet too because we don't really need that like ever again. But let's get ourselves... First up, we're going to want a couple of these assembly IOs. So there's 1, there's 2. We're also going to need an assembly platform. We're going to need a drill. And we're going to need an assembly controller. We're just going to set up our drill. We'll put it right here. And we'll go ahead and remove this program here, this laser one. And we're going to replace it with drill and laser for right now. We'll throw this block of compressed iron in here, and you'll see that this picks it up, swings over here, drops the compressed iron in right there, and then it starts drilling it, and you can see it makes the valves, and then the laser comes in and lasers it, and makes the advanced pressure tubes. Because if you take a look here, the actual drill program can be used to make those pressure chamber valves. 1 block of compressed iron makes 20 pressure chamber valves. I mean, technically, we could get away with not even having the drill and laser program and just have 2 of these, now that I think about it. Because really the only thing I'm using drill and laser for is to make the advanced pressure tubes. And we could do the same thing if we just sent it to a drill program first, made the 20 pressure chamber valves, and then from there they get sent over to the laser program. Okay, I did a little bit of cleaning up. I may shift this over to the right a little bit or something, you know, kind of make a few little small adjustments like that. But now if we were to order some advanced pressure tubes, say we wanted 40 of these. Alright, I think I actually have some loose, because I was doing a bit of testing, I think I have some loose, pressure chamber valves. But you can see that this grabs this. Back behind me, you just heard the ender sound. It's making compressed iron to make the blocks, right? So there's some pressure tubes. And we should have some compressed iron blocks coming in here shortly. We'll see them kind of zoom in. I'll clean up the floor and stuff. There's still a bit of that to do. There goes compressed iron. It grabs it. Going to start drilling. And there we go. Pressure chamber valves. It's sent into here, then they immediately get sent to this satellite. This grabs it. It's going to start running and drilling those and making our advanced tubes. And there we go. More advanced pressure tubes. Wonderful. So that is automated, and really that's all I need. I don't necessarily need the drill and laser program. It's just added clutter, I guess. So I think, unless you guys just want me to do the assembly line, otherwise I'm happy with this. I'm very, very happy with this. So it looks really cool running. Like I said, I may shift it over to the right by 1. And maybe adjust the floor out a little bit. But yeah, that is working. And very, very compact, honestly. So, and it's nice and symmetrical. I mean, the pieces aren't in the exact same spot. Well, kind of, but I don't know. Anyways, but it is working, and I'm very, very happy with it. This keeps throwing a problem with the pressure, but we're going to be fixing that, so that's not too much of an issue. And advanced pressure tubes can basically just be placed down in place of the standard pressure tubes because they do carry more pressure. So for example, I can, oops, what did I, oh no, why did I break that? I'm breaking like all the wrong things here. So that's exciting. But I can basically just come through here and kind of change all these over. This one, yeah, just gonna snap that piece off whenever I break it. That's fine. We'll just replace it. Now there is something we can do to really make this whole system a lot more compact here. Let's get ourselves a printed. We already have a printed circuit board. Okay, let's grab one of these, and what we're going to be making is one of these advanced PCBs. This requires redstone alloy, yellow plastic, and compressed iron. We're going to get this crafted, and we're going to say that if it begins with advanced, and then we're going to go ahead and throw in 4 redstone alloy, 4 compressed iron, 4 pieces of yellow plastic, and a printed circuit board. And there's our advanced PCB. But let's go ahead. We're going to apply this to our pressure gauge module just by right-clicking on it. And now what we can do, I'm going to remove that. We don't need this comparator setup at all anymore. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pick that up. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this up. We're going to say emit when you are at 4.9 bars. Okay, emit when it is... Okay, no, it's higher than. We're going to say emit when it is higher than 4.8 bars. Or say 4.7 bars. Okay. And now what we can do is let me get a redstone conduit. Just so I can link this over real quick. And we'll go ahead and have it connect to that. And let's see, is it over? Emit when higher than 4.7. Sorry, I had it on lower than. So if it's higher than 4.7, it will emit a signal. Now there's also the advanced config, and in this you can actually kind of fine tune things. You can say lower than, higher than, you know, what it's going to emit, and like the threshold and the redstone output and stuff like that. And you can have the redstone signal increase based on the higher the pressure gets, things like that. For this, we're not going to mess with the advanced config. We're just going to leave it on the basic config. So it shouldn't emit a redstone signal until this gets up to around a 4.8 bar, and then it would shut everything down. I could move this up. Honestly, I probably will, just for the sake of doing it. We'll say 4.8. So emit when it's higher than a 4.8 bar. Okay, so about 4.9 it will shut off. So now this is a really easy way to have this, you know, basically turn off the system. Now I could clean this up a little bit more. Take this, say this insulated cable here. Really, I could move that pressure gauge over if I wanted to. I'm not that concerned about making it compact since all this is going to be hidden anyway. But now we've cleaned that up a bit. I don't know for sure if we're going to go with the advanced liquid compressors. Probably not, because I know that in this pack we are actually able to craft. There's a creative compressor that we can craft within the pack. Right here. And honestly, the chaos ingots, I think, are the main thing. But honestly, it's not terribly expensive. Well, a little bit expensive, but not terribly expensive. Okay. So we may end up just getting that and using that later on for our air pressure needs. So I don't think we're going to go with the advanced. If I run into a situation where we need the advanced liquid compressors, we may upgrade. You know, if we need really high pressure. But honestly, I think for the most part, what we need from PneumaticCraft, we have automated right in this room. So, you know, I've still got to come through and clean this room up. And we'll, you know, we'll probably get into drones and stuff like that. I don't know if we'll bother with like Pneumatics helmet or anything like that. But we'll see. We shall see. So, anyways, with that, I know it is about wrapping up point, a little bit past wrapping up point. So I am going to end it here. Next episode when we come back, it will be mechanism time, I do believe. So I think that's where we're going to pick up next episode and start really diving into that. I was wanting to get into a little bit of that this episode, but I just don't foresee it happening. But on the plus side, PneumaticCraft is pretty well squared away at this point, and we can really turn our attention elsewhere because all this stuff is done. Pneumatics is the stuff that we're going to need from pneumatics to really move forward with mechanism is done. It's automated, and we're set to go. So this, for now, pneumatics is done. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos. If you guys just really, if a lot of you guys just really want the assembly line set up, though, we will do that. But just let me know down in the comments. So, you know, if there's a fair few of you that do want that, we can set that up. But otherwise, I mean, it's compact and it's in this room. I'll adjust it a little bit and move things around a little bit since the room is pretty well squared away, I think, minus a couple of the things that we may add in the future, like little small things. But for the most part, we're pretty well settled with it. So I do want to play around with the aerial interface in the future, maybe, but that's a big maybe, though. I don't know if we'll actually need it. It's nice because it basically taps into the player's interface, but I don't know. We'll see. And we may jump into the advanced liquid compressors and stuff like that. I don't know. We might. It's not really a big issue to set up. The only thing is I'd want heat sinks on this. And the way I have it set up right now, there's really no space for heat sinks. That's the main reason I don't care to bother with it. So, I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I hope you guys join me for next episode. Until then, as always, do take care and stay safe. And I will see you guys next time.